Jerry Hemsted, Redbluff, California.
So how long have you been using Copasure?
Well, I've been with Ben Guards for 12 years, and we've used it all 12 years that I've been here.
And what do you give it to?
We give it to all the cows when they return from the mountains in the fall of the year.
And what problems were you seeing before you used Copasure?
Well, we were seeing some premature calves, not as many as you'd think, but the main thing was that we turned these black cattle black again. Before that, they were rusty colored and red colored, and with the copper, we have taken care of that problem, and we've also stopped. We have very few aborts because of copper deficiency. We have no, what I call pinky calves, no calves born without hair anymore. We keep about 400 to 450 head of replacement heifers a year. After we've chose them, they get their ranch ID, and they get all of the shots. They get a copper bolus, they get Bolused Gold 5 FPH, VL 5 HB, they get an 8-way shot, and then 30 days later we give them the hard Joe bovis again. And then when we do that, we turn the bulls with them. It's all natural breeding. We wind up with about 88% of them on a year in, year out of them being bred when we check them in March. We breed them in September, October, and then we check them in March for their 6 months bred.
When do you wean the calves?
We wean the calves in May. They're born the previous June, and we wean them. We try to get them all weaned in May, and most of the cows calve in June and July and August. And then when they come home from the mountains is when we give the copper bolus.
How many acres do you run per cow?
Well, every ranch is different, but on this ranch here in the better part of it, we run 1 cow to 7 acres, 1 cow and calf to 7 acres. On the poorer sides of it, we run 1 cow and calf to 12 acres.
If you were to speak to a young man starting out as a rancher, what would you tell him about Copasure?
Oh, I'd tell him it's a total necessity. We conducted a trial last year with the Tama County Livestock Farm Advisor and Merck, and we did a test on 100 head of cattle. 20 got a copper bolus, 20 got a multi-min shot, 20 got an EC shot, and 20 were our control cattle. The cattle all did pretty comparable to the same, but we also did a blood workup on the cattle. On the second month we weighed them, and on the third month we weighed them, and the blood level on the copper were still above the necessities. The other cattle had dropped below that. We had the extended long life of the copper and bolus. We bled those cattle again when we shipped them this spring, and we still had a copper level in those cattle that was sufficient, where the other cattle were darn near void of it again. So, well, we've wound up on the cattle that we've checked now. But the cattle we've checked have been over 92% good livers on the cattle. And I think the copper is one big reason, but we also use the flucicide and don't let those flukes get to be mature in the livers. And our cattle show it. Our cattle will outweigh the neighbor's cattle 20 to 70 pounds. So
that is the best advert you could ever get, isn't it?
Well, right, because no matter what anybody thinks in the cow business, you're selling weight. That's what we get paid for. And the more weight I can put on our cattle, the more money we receive.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time.